Carla Guilfoyle, along with Juan Williams, Jesse Waters, Kennedy, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. This is a Fox News alert. The House Intelligence Committee due to meet behind closed doors at this hour and could vote as soon as this evening on whether to release that secret memo that Republicans say shows surveillance abuses by the Obama administration, DOJ, and FBI. Keep it on Fox News for the latest developments on this breaking story. In other news, on Friday, after the New York Times reported that Hillary Clinton helped protect a senior advisor to her 2008 presidential campaign who was accused of sexually harassing a young subordinate, she responded, tweeting she was dismayed when it occurred, but heartened that the woman came forward. Meanwhile, a video surfaced over the weekend of Clinton thanking her supporters.
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for your feminism, for your activism, and all I can hope is you keep up the really important good work.
But then, things took an even more bizarre turn. Watch.
Let me just say this is directed to the activist supporting so let's go.
All right. Well, and it doesn't end there. Clinton resurfaced again during a surprise appearance during last night's Grammys, doing what else? Well, mocking President Trump.
He had a long-time fear of being poisoned. One reason why he liked to eat at McDonald's. Nobody knew he was coming, and the food was safely pre-made.
That's it. We've got it. That's the one.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
The Grammy's in the bag?
In the bag.
All right, Kennedy, please decipher all of this for us.
Wow, what comedic genius. It's very funny because she's not the only Democrat that's trying to use a potty mouth in order to reach out to young voters.
Yes.
The great thing about young voters, though, is they're not reaching back to either party. They're not interested. And so when we hear these stories about Bernie Strider and how he was harassing a young staffer, Hillary Clinton, the champion of women, with her disingenuous tweets, coming out saying that she was so proud of the woman that she called her this week and to threaten her with legal action?
Right.
To somehow, maybe pay her off or imply that the woman was going to be protected to make sure she wouldn't come forward with more of the story. What it says to me is you have 4 people who were associated with the campaign, deeply entrenched, and there were senior staffers on the campaign who wanted Strider out of there, and he was not fired. He was not taken off the campaign. It shows me that you've got a lot of Democrats who are doing whatever they can to bury her, to make sure there's plenty of room for a full Democratic field in 2020 that does not include her name.
Very interesting because, yeah, they don't want to lose again because losing isn't fun, but winning is.
It is.
It is.
Yes. Let's talk about the Grammys.
You want to?
Yeah, which is short for grandmother. Last night's ratings, they dropped 10 million households. They lost 33% in the Prime demo. So wherever she goes, she loses. And I'm waiting for her to blame that on the Russians, that the Russians actually tinkered with the ratings. The interesting thing about the reading of the book, it wasn't just her. They had other musical artists. I think Cher did it. I think, I can't remember the other, who?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. So the excerpts were about Donald Trump being bored in meetings and about what he eats. So the height of hypocrisy, if you've ever read a tour writer of a pop star who demand, 5 bottles of champagne and a donkey. There is no more petulant, self-involved behavior than a pop star. So the funny thing is that they're like this. They'll demand the color of the furniture, the exact type of roses.
Yeah.
They are spoiled, rotten. So ridiculing Donald Trump because he gets bored in a meeting, that's like a crab calling me crabby. It's absolutely nuts. And then, to top it off, so they're having a relevant discussion about sexual harassment, about the Me Too movement. And they include Hillary in this, who has protected a serial harasser now twice. Her husband and the campaign guy she overruled when they wanted him to fire. Plus, if you don't forget this is probably even worse, the fact that she said that the Charlie Hebdo victims had sparked their own murders by drawing Muhammad. So she's always blaming the victim. So the hypocrisy here is insane. There's a lot more going on there that there were certain they dedicated time to certain musical artists that passed away that had interesting backstories that would not fit into the Me Too movement.
I just hope Gutfeld never gets a hold of my rider. That would be very embarrassing. He's going to do one more thing.
All callers must be up.
Yes, can you imagine?
Wouldn't you love
morning
it,
blow
if
dry.
at the Grammys they also read from Shattered or Unlikable,
Right.
and some of those Hillary books that have painted an unflattering picture.
Those are the
her.
books they
Clinton
burn,
Cash,
Kennedy. They don't actually read
And
them.
Fahrenheit 451.
I think Hillary cheapens the whole Me Too movement. Look what she's done. She's been credibly accused of covering up sexual misconduct on her husband's campaign,
Sure.
in her husband's White House, her own State Department, and now her own campaign. The people in her orbit, Kevin Spacey, Harvey Weinstein, Huma's husband, I'm not even going to say his name. And then, like you said, she's been married to
He's a wiener.
Serial sexual harassment. Exactly. But she's been a total hypocrite for so many years. Look, she said that Donald Trump was colluding with the Russians and then got caught paying a foreign agent to collude with the Russians. She said Trump wasn't going to accept the results of the election, then didn't accept the results of the election. She said Benghazi was about a YouTube video when she knew it was about terrorism. She had a terrible weekend. That tweet that she sent out was ridiculed by the right and the left, so she was forced into this weird video at dinner after a few drinks, and she said the bitches line, which was totally lame, trying to sound relevant, and then she gets wheelchaired out to this little stunt at the Grammys. Crooked Hillary tanks the ratings. She should have read the passage. Wasn't it Wolf who accused Nikki Haley of sleeping with President Trump to get to the top? Hillary didn't say anything about that. She forgot that passage.
Yes, and Nikki Haley was none too pleased about that. All right, so Juan, you seem a little bit expressionless for you during this montage at the table.
You know, because
I was looking for a sign.
Sometimes, Kimberly, it's just too much. You
Is it?
you just have to sit
Sometimes?
and listen because apparently nobody heard she lost the election.
True, you're right.
Including her.
She didn't hear it.
And apparently
tell her.
nobody knows about people on the Trump campaign using profanity or Scaramucci coming out with all kinds of awful statements about people and suggesting that people perform unnatural sex
I
acts.
agree with you on
So,
that.
I mean, I don't know. But I guess this is one side of the political phrase. So let's go.
We're just saying
but
it was
I'm just
corny
telling
that
you,
she used the line,
no,
not that it
it's
was
not corny.
inappropriate language.
I'm just telling you that people all over on both sides
Well,
use that
Kennedy
kind
actually
of
made
awful
her point.
language. No, this is, look at, they're chirping now because they realize they've been stoned.
No, you're not listening.
Okay. Let me just say, this to me is an example of, guess what? She's reading something comedic from Michael Wolff's book. America's reading the book. So how do you guess that that is somehow Hillary Clinton and evidence of her hypocrisy? My gosh, it's not written by a liberal. It was written by a conservative. And it's funny because guess what? They have won Grammys awards for book reading. And so you have people reading from the Trump book. I think it was funny.
And you know what, Juan, you make a great point. She did lose. So, given the choice on October 16, would you rather be the president and have a bad book written about you, or would you rather be the loser on an awards show that is losing viewers? You would choose to be president and not her. So it is kind of a pathetic solo performance.
Would tell any member of her family.
She would,
Yeah,
but
so that's the
you're right. I'm
That's
agreeing
my
with you.
point.
I'm
So
agreeing
all
with
of
you.
a sudden,
The point-
instead, you guys are so in need of somebody to tear down and to whip up on because you can't defend Trump. You haven't mentioned Trump and the porn star. Oh, why don't we talk about that?
I do all the time.
It's not hypocritical that she read from the book,
I see.
Juan. It's hypocritical that she covered up a sexual harassment scandal in her own campaign
You are
when
so
she's supposed
wrong.
to be the leader
you
of
know
this
what?
Me Too
Stick
movement.
to the facts. Wait,
what did she do?
Those are the facts.
She can make a
Those are the
right-wing
facts.
case without lying. And this,
I'm not lying.
This is,
What did she do
covered
with the
nothing
woman?
up.
What did she do with the woman who
protected
accused
her.
the guy
She
of
didn't
sexually
do
harassing?
anything.
Protected
All right,
her.
so-
Hold on, let me get Kennedy back in
No,
here.
hang on. Let me finish.
Juan, we've been letting you filibuster
People
here.
came to her and said, you know what, this guy's behaved inappropriately. We
Yeah.
think you should let him go. She said, you know what, let's get this guy into treatment. And it's a good thing the young woman came
Yeah, the
forward
treatment
and
should
allow
work
her
because when-
to have a choice.
when
She
Kennedy
went to
talked
another
about
woman.
it
She didn't give the woman a
They'll
choice.
correct the record. When he went there, he only lasted a few months because he did the exact same thing. So the treatment didn't exactly work. So a woman,
I don't think he even went.
The woman who sprains her arm, patting herself on the back for listening to women and saying, we all deserve to be heard. Yeah, all those voices deserve to be heard unless they're people who have accused her husband or people around her of sexual
I
impropriety.
think people defend their
incredibly
families in the
hypocritical.
husband's case, but in this case, I think you should not go full bore and say, oh, just because someone's charged, you know what, let's have fair process. Even in big companies, Kennedy, people are allowed to speak and defend themselves.
Well, look at how she-
This guy...
So you
was-
think
Look what
Hillary
she
did
did
the right
to the
thing?
women
I
that
You
Bill
think Hillary did the right thing?
Clinton
I think
sexually
Hillary Clinton
assaulted.
took the appropriate and legal steps. If you're asking me, should she
against the advice of her campaign chairwoman, who said they should be immediately fired?
That's fine, but I think that ultimately this is a point where
like
conservatives score because
paragraph.
it looks like liberal hypocrisy. I would just point out that when we discussed this
conservatives aren't
ago,
scoring. You scored on yourself.
No. When we were discussing this last week, I thought this had taken place in the 2016 campaign. Turns out this is back to 2008.
Well, it doesn't make it okay whether it happened in 2008 or it happened last week.
It's a wholly different
after what the
circumstance.
nation had been through in light of her husband's
Right.
sexual
No, this is,
proclivities,
believe me.
I think we know enough in 2008 to shield people like
I
that.
think you're stretching because I don't think there's any doubt this
You really
is a
think that-
hashtag Me Too moment in America right now
Yes,
that we've never seen.
Yes,
and
but
you know,
a woman who's running for president knows better than pretty much everyone else in the country.
It's an interesting-
especially how to protect other women, or at least she should, especially if she claims to.
Yeah, well, her record is not stellar, to say the least, in this area. And that's why it says Hillary's hypocrisy, because as it relates to protection of women and sexual assault and sexual harassment, obviously she missed all of those scattered teachable moments that her husband tossed out in front of her.
Oh, that's what you're after, the husband. So you're not really even talking about
I'm talking about Hillary Clinton. Read the A block. What does it talk about here? Sexual harassment in 2008 and the advisor and her history of treatment against women.
For you guys
Well,
to beat up on, so
can I
you don't
just-
have
Go ahead,
to talk
Greg.
about Trump.
One last point. You know, we're talking about it, seeing all these arenas expressing gender equality, and it's very touching to see. But who expresses gender equality more? Would you say Fox News, or would you say the music industry or the Grammys? The Grammys awarded 70% of their award winners were women. Most of the women there weren't allowed solo performances,
Lorde
right?
was not. She was nominated for Album of the Year. The only person nominated who was not invited to.
No, she wasn't invited. She chose
No,
not
not to sing a solo performance.
Correct, not to sing solo, but she was invited.
Well,
Yeah,
let me-
but not,
my
not
point
in
is-
the way her male counterparts were.
Okay.
There were a lot of opportunities there there's a lot of hypocrisy. Ed Sheeran was nominated with 4 other women. He beat those 4 other women.
Oh, wow.
And said they had...
And he also won the Grammy.
Oh, I saw that terrible joke coming. Anyway, my point is 70% of the awards were won by women, and they can't lecture us anymore. I'm sorry. I think these award shows have to take a timeout. There's too many of them. They're trapped in their own myopic, emotional world, and they don't understand what America is seeing. We just look at this and we're going, shut up. We just want to see the bands.
Okay, myopic, excellent use of the word, and also your pronunciation was spot on.
Thank you.
This pleases me. Coming up, a shakeup at the FBI, and we're going to tell you why. And we'll also check in with our fellow 5 co-host, Miss Dana Perino, who's in Washington today. There's Dana. Hey, Dana. She's next.
But does he get the full benefits?
So
I
far,
don't
it looks
know.
like
Yeah, he
he's
gets the
going
full-
to.
So well played if he gets the full benefits.
Yeah, he gets the benefits.
I do know the timing is fishy because it's the day after his boss looks at the memo and you got the text swirling around and you have an IG report coming out that he behaved really unprofessionally.
Well, we don't know that. We haven't seen the IG.
Allegedly. And this is the guy, remember, this is Andy. This is the office, Andrew McCabe's office, where these 2 FBI agents allegedly cooked up this insurance policy to protect the country from Trump's presidency. He's also been accused of going soft on Hillary, of using the dossier to justify the spying.
Email investigation.
The email investigation, right, and then did not disclose that his wife got donations from Clinton supported
he did.
Democrat. No, did not disclose it at first.
That's why he's
did
under
not disclose it
investigation
at
for
first.
that.
So with all this, you have people retiring early, getting demoted, getting fired, getting moved around. It looks like it's chaos at the Justice Department.
Kennedy.
Well, this is one of the reasons why we have to be very mindful about how much power we concentrate in the hands of law enforcement and intelligence agencies, because when that information and those abilities are politicized and weaponized, this is how they can be used. If, in fact, the Steele dossier was the basis for that warrant, that FISA warrant, and the application that was given to that federal judge, which, you know, according to the Washington Post and New York Times, that didn't disclose that A, Christopher Steele had lied, and B, that the money, the bulk of the money, came from Fusion GPS in order to fund the dossier. Those things were left out. That's critical information that a federal judge would have needed. Therefore, one of the Trump campaign officials was wiretapped because of that. And that's essentially spying. That's something that the Obama administration has denied. I don't care who the administration is that is overstepping your bounds. We should all be very mindful of this. And to me, that's the most problematic right now. But there are so many outlying issues, including the hundreds of thousands of dollars that Terry McAuliffe and his associated PAC gave to Andrew McCabe's wife in order to run in that losing state Senate race in Virginia. But there are many problematic things here. And in those texts, you realize that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page both talked about McCabe not recusing himself soon enough.
All right. So, Greg, you know, from the left, people say, oh, this is just muddying the waters, going after the FBI. What do you think?
Like a 40-year-old member of Menudo, this guy was on his way out. I don't see this as a really big story. We knew he was leaving. We're missing the big story here. It wasn't him being pulled out. The bigger removal, the Cleveland Indians dropped Chief Wahoo. All right? He's the mascot. Apparently, he sexually harassed the Philly Fanatic. Yeah. And Mr. Met. But the news is coming out. The news is coming out. No, this isn't news. But Chief Wahoo, that's news.
All right. Up next, rappers Jay-Z and Eminem taking aim at President Trump in an attempt to, well, be relevant again. Gregory with the details. Next.
Pull together. A little left. Easy. All right. We've all got places to go.
Washington crossing the Delaware Turnpike? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Sean saved by switching to Geico.
Big man with a horn.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
I cannot imagine managing my diabetes without my Dexcom.
This is the Dexcom G5 Mobile Continuous Glucose Monitoring System. A small wearable sensor measures your glucose every 5 minutes and sends the data to a Dexcom receiver.
Dexcom helps lower A1C and improves quality of life. If you're over 65 and you have diabetes, you should have a Dexcom.
If you get a Dexcom is telling the non-rich anything. Yet Eminem is also filthy rich. Using his logic, why should anyone listen to him? But my question to Emma is this. Why rage when you can engage? It would be refreshing for him to actually have a conversation with the people he denigrates. If he had the guts, he'd make his points better and not come off as an irrelevant crank. But he won't. And avoidance of debate reveals weakness in one's own arguments. But now Jay-Z has knocked Trump, and Trump responded back. That's got to kill Eminem. Apparently, Van Jones asked Jay-Z about the low black unemployment rate under Trump. Jay-Z responded that it's not about money at the end of the day. Isn't that weird? Pelosi, Jay-Z, Eminem, all stupid rich. One says $1,000 is a crumb. Another says that a job isn't important for happiness. Why is it only the really rich say that? Because they don't need either. Well, except for Trump. He never says that. Maybe that's why he's president, and they aren't. Kennedy, you are an alum of MTV. I find it interesting. Van Jones, I love him. He's a very nice man. Said that Jay-Z is a good role model for Donald Trump because he grew in public. He was confessional and vulnerable about his marriage. I don't think he had a choice in that.
No, and that's Becky with the good hair.
Yes.
Because, you know, Beyonce had to write about these things and bring them to the fore, and there was a great amount of internet and speculation as well as in music journalism, which you talked about a little bit ago. What I find disingenuous is there are a lot of issues and a lot of things that Jay-Z can take to task. And one of them is the federal minimum wage that a lot of people on the left are pushing for. And who does that hurt the most? Unemployed black teenagers, and they have the hardest time entering the workforce. That's a real issue. But saying that money doesn't buy you happiness, it doesn't when you're rich.
Yeah.
I mean, a statement like that shows that you can be really rich and super miserable, but for those who have zero mobility and no choices and no chance of moving up, a little bit of money and a nice job sure would be refreshing, considering how the cards have been stacked against many people that Jay-Z is supposedly defending.
You know, Juan, part of the criticism to Donald Trump was that he found Trump's "the S-hole" comments to be hurtful. Has Jay-Z ever listened to his own rap lyrics about women?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. I think it's misogynistic, and I think it's damaging to young black people. But the biggest audience is young white people, actually.
Fair point. Simply by numbers. right?
Yeah,
Not by percentage, but there's just
no,
more
no,
white.
the percent. The most people who buy that kind of music are white.
Well, because blacks are what, 13% of the population.
No, but I'm saying even in terms of percentages, it's overwhelming who the fans of rap music are.
There's a larger number from which to therefore pull a larger percentage.
No, you asked about percentage.
No,
that's
you asked about
He's right.
percentage.
You're wrong.
All right. Well, anyway, both in percentage and absolute numbers, the white audience is bigger, but I worry about it in terms of the black audience. But let me just say in response to you that I think it was Donald Trump who said wages are too high during the campaign, and he still won. So I don't understand that. But when it comes to something like this being hurtful or damaging, I don't see how you get away from that. That's what the man said.
All right, Jesse?
I mean, I love Jay-Z. I just think he's getting soft.
Ooh.
Jay-Z is hurt.
You must not need anything from him right now.
I have no need for Jay-Z.
Super Bowl ticket.
I just listen to your music and I don't listen to anything else.
But he doesn't deal anymore, so you don't need anything.
Greg, I told you that in confidence. But I mean, your feelings are hurt, and you're a rapper. Your feelings are hurt. Come on, man. And then you're saying, you know, black unemployment, you know, record low, and he's saying it's not about money. Every song he sings is about getting more money.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like
money,
Trump's
cash
tone.
out?
Yeah, Trump's tone is like polite Queen's English compared to some of his lyrics. I think they have a lot more in common than they realize. They both love money. They love women.
Both
they love attention. They both have big mouths.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
On.
You know what they are? They are actually equals. They are. They're kind of like, it's just a different generation, I think.
Wouldn't you
But
like to
anyway,
see a conversation between the two of them?
I think they would probably go play golf.
Before Trump became president, Jay-Z would love to hang out with the Trump.
Right. I mean, it's just, you know, it's hypocritical. I think that Jay-Z obviously has a voice. He's very talented. But, you know, like, you could use it, I think, in a lot more effective and powerful ways to help in the black community and as it relates to jobs and whatnot. At least the president, he made a promise. He said he was going to try to do it and earn the votes and be able to improve the unemployment numbers in the black community. And he's done that. He's delivered on his promise. You look at some of the polling, too. The black community actually does support his immigration policy. So there you go.
Ahead, a high school teacher's anti-military rant. You probably haven't seen it anywhere. The outrageous tape up next.
You wouldn't feel good not knowing the price here. Don't let it happen when you buy your diabetes test strips. With the AccuCheck Guide Simple Pay program, you pay the same low price, all without having to go through insurance. Plus, they come in a spill-resistant vial along with a free meter. Skip the guessing game and focus on your health, not the cost. Make saving simple today at simplepaysaves.com.
Hey, we didn't have a homeowner's claim last year, so Allstate's giving us money back on our bill.
Seems fair. Didn't use it.
Wish we got money back on gym memberships.
Get money back
Hilarious.
with claim-free rewards. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
I just found this amazing website called Adore Me. They have tons of bras, PJs, underwear, all from petite to plus. I know your phone's out, so look them up.
Valentine's Day special. Your first set starts at just $14.95.
For people like this moron to go ahead and try to pollute the minds of young people. I mean, it's unbelievable to me that he could say something so ignorant and so disrespectful. Like, but, you know, thankfully, people record some of these things, and you're able to find out about it. And what is there to investigate? Why isn't he, like, in big trouble for this?
I love how they say they're investigating. What do you think the results of the investigation are going to be?
I don't like this person. But I don't think this is unusual. I think what he's shown is the disconnect between academia and real life. The reason why he said that was he didn't stop to think that maybe one or two people in his class might actually know a veteran or or have served in the military. It didn't even occur to him. He was so divorced from reality that and this is the big point.
And his myopic view.
He doesn't know anybody in the military. And that brings me to my bigger point, is that colleges have to start hiring people with life experiences. This man has no life experience. If you don't know a veteran, you have no life experience. If you don't have a person that you talk to regularly who's been in the military, you have no life experience. You need to have that as part of your life. A college student could learn more from a military veteran than this dirtbag who has such it's such an ignorant way of. It's because he doesn't know anybody. Yeah. That's what it's. And if colleges follow this route, there are going to be no more brick and mortar colleges. People are just going to say online colleges. Screw this.
University of Phoenix.
University of Gutfeld.
Oh,
very good.
Starting.
Wow, I would drop out of that in a heartbeat. Juan Williams, do you agree with Greg? Ignorance.
That Greg should drop out? No, the one point I would say to you, Greg, is this wasn't college, it was high school.
Yeah.
And the second
Same thing for me.
The second thing is I just think that this guy is so misguided because he doesn't apparently realize, and I take your point to heart, that he could have been sitting in front of a young person whose dad, whose uncle, whatever, is in the military. So I think that's inappropriate. What I do think is right, though, is that, you know, you look back on Vietnam and some of the episodes in our own history, people have been very critical of the military. I don't have any trouble with criticisms of the military. I do have problems when you start to somehow besmirch the intellect of people who choose to serve our country. I mean, that to me is bizarre. I've known soldiers who are brilliant people, not just physically able, and they're, of course, far superior to me physically, but I think that on the moral issue, he said he's not worrying about their morality in terms of the killing and the like. He just thinks they are intellectually inferior. I just disagree.
Well, it also betrays his own lack of intellect because he's not able to distance government action from people who join the military. And I think someone like this should spend a day at Walter Reed and talk to wounded veterans who have fought for our freedom, you know, which is an ideal, which is sacred. And some of my favorite veterans are those who have become libertarians and who have become somewhat anti-war, having fought in theaters right now. And he's in Pico Rivera. He's a city councilman who, by the way, was disciplined for smacking a student in the head in 2012. So this person is also violent and incompetent, but he really should go talk to some of the men and women who have sacrificed themselves and find out where their journeys have taken them.
That's a great idea.
How about fired?
All right, you take that too. Directly ahead. You won't believe who's going from the White House to the Big Brother house. We'll see next.
Let's have a good time. Let's go. What you waiting for? You only got one life. And we gon' live it.
This program is brought to you by Progressive, comparing rates to help you save. Now that's Progressive.
Next time I want you on my bowling team.
Rodney.
Bowling. Classic. Can I help you? It's me. Jamie. I'm not good with names. Celeste! I trained you. We share a locker. Newsman! He gets 2 Name Your Price tools. It's 2? I literally coined the phrase, we give you coverage options based on your budget. That's me. Jamie! You're back from Italy! Mwah! Mwah! Ciao, Bella.
I lost 50 pounds on Jenny Craig, and you can too.
Introducing Rapid Results by Jenny Craig. Lose up to 16 pounds in just 4 weeks. Pasta, pizza, burgers. You get to eat really good food 6 times a day, and you don't even have to cook. The program includes a personal weight loss expert who understands men. None of that group meetings.
Omarosa, she's very controversial. For some reason, the president seems to love her.
Still?
You know, yeah, she's very loyal, I guess, but I didn't like how she acted like she had this dirt on everybody in the Trump White House that she was going to sell and make everyone look racist. That I don't like about Omarosa, but as they say in the business, I wish her the best of luck.
You always have. So, Greg, how upset were you that you didn't get that call to join the Celebrity?
I would do it in a second.
No, would you really? Celebrity Little Brother call.
Yeah, how dare you?
Sorry.
I had this dream that Fox News had hired her, and she ended up like being a contributor and subbing on the 5.
And then what did you say you'd do, Greg?
I said I was going to throw myself off a building. But you know what? This is further proof that loyal people aren't always the best people. They just happen to stick around because they're loyal. This is what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to be on a show that has a finite lifespan. She's like a predatory weird fish that you drop into an aquarium and you see what happens. You saw that with The Apprentice. You saw that with this, with The White House, which was a reality show for her. And you're going to see that with it. She's what you put in a situation to upset everything and create ratings. She will never probably get an actual job again. She's a catalyst.
She is. Well, she's something else. And this will, so indeed. I have to share something. Okay. I got to go to Media Day at Big Brother. And we were in the house for about 14 hours.
Wow.
And you do all the challenges, and you can only eat the food they give you. There are no pens. There are no newspapers. There are no telephones. You obviously don't have your phone. You can only talk to each other. And after a half a day, you start to go insane. I cannot imagine what will happen to her after, you know, because at least on other shows like Survivor, you get to walk around the island and sort of bathe in the waves and go fetch water and, you know, chop open coconuts. But there, you are stuck with each other in a stinky house on a studio lot.
I love it.
24 hours a day.
Smells bad?
I will never forget this.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, that's not nice. I really dislike bad smell stories. Okay, so here's the deal. She loves this because she's hoping to get in there and make a scene and a spectacle and get everybody going at each other, and she'll do that. And that's why they're delighted to have her on there because, of course, there's going to be drama. Of course, then that equals ratings. So this is what she's good at. She's like a specialist in this field of total chaos.
Oh, that hurts.
One.
So I think Greg was on. I think piranha is the word.
Yeah, that's. I couldn't think of the word.
So I think it's like that. But when I think back to what happened at the White House, where, if you'll recall, she got into it with April Ryan, the reporter for Urban News Network.
Right.
And then April Ryan's the one who reported that, in fact, Omarosa got into it with Chief of Staff Kelly, and that Kelly had her let out.
Yes.
Now, that would have been some reality TV, because she was angering people in the public liaison office. She's angering the Chief of Staff. I don't know about her relationship with the president, but I don't know of anybody in the Trump White House who was speaking highly of Omarosa except Omarosa.
Oh, mercy. All right. Well, don't you worry about a thing. One more thing is up next. Stay right here.
Not having a good breakfast can make you feel like your day never started. Get going with Carnation Breakfast Essentials High Protein Drink. It has 21 vitamins and minerals with 15 grams of protein to help you be your best. Try our high protein drink.
There's an exotic place where you can swim in the sky, where all the pleasures of a 5-star luxury vacation are all included. Sandals Grenada. Experience the sandals of tomorrow today. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Are you hiring great people?
I get more talented people through the door through Indeed than any other job search that I use.
Indeed delivers 6 times more hires than any other job site.
We'll duel it out. Good thing I have an outstanding one more thing today. So we've got a dog superhero, as far as I'm concerned, who helped save a life. And he's being called a hometown hero from his hometown in Northern California, and one of mine, right by there, Pittsburgh, California. So an elderly man was going to for an early morning walk, okay, when he fell, and he was unable to get up, and he fell into water, so he was in danger. And then Mo, the golden retriever, saw the incident, began aggressively barking, which alerted his owner to the elderly man in distress. His owner, John Newman, was able to help the man out of the water. The old man was taken to the hospital, and he's expected to be okay. And the local police are very thrilled with Mo and said that he is a hero, and they brought him lots of treats. Look at how nice. The things that dogs do, Greg.
Yeah, but he didn't bathe.
They are still superior to cats.
All right, Jesse.
Okay, I'd like to thank the people at the Constitutional Convention for inviting me to speak at their education policy conference the other day. You know, we love the poorly educated here, and we always try to help out everybody. So on to other news. You ready? A new installment of Aardvark fat-shaming news.
What?
Oh, wow.
We showed you about the aardvark that the Cincinnati Zoo put on a scale and blasted that on YouTube, making everybody see how fat it was. Now, they're weighing it again, and they're reporting that it's doubled its weight.
Yes.
They've told everybody this thing's doubled its weight. It's obviously very ashamed of that, but they don't care. And
it's not even fat, though, Jesse. That's the thing.
Yes, it is extremely fat.
Okay.
That's gaining a lot of weight, and his name is Winsel, and apparently he's very clumsy. And we're going to keep you guys posted on any new developments in Aardvark news.
So
How dare you steal my news thing?
Oh, how does it feel?
I learned it from you.
Aardvarkorexia.
All right, Juan.
So, as Greg told you earlier, very interesting news coming out of Cleveland this weekend. The Indians have decided to remove Chief Wahoo's big tooth grin from the team's jersey, sleeves, and caps starting in the 2019 season. The baseball commissioner, Rob Manford, really pushed for the change. The Indians said, quote, Major League Baseball is committed to building a culture of diversity and inclusion throughout the game. Now, this caught my attention, I got to tell you, because my favorite football team, the Washington football team, has a very objectionable name, yet their ownership refuses to budge on this issue. I can't understand. I'm hoping that what we're seeing from Cleveland, as we've seen from a bunch of college teams, is a break in the clouds, and that one day soon, Washington football team will see the light and follow suit.
And do you know that they're replacing Chief Wahoo with Elizabeth Warren?
Is that right?
Wow.
Oh, that would be great. I think she's prettier.
Lovely.
Oh, interesting taste, Juan. Okay, Kennedy Delighta.
Yes, well, you know how annoying it is to be on a plane and, you know, people invade your space, whether they're corpulent or stinky. There's a new trend
It's like a smell theme on that.
self-important yoginis rubbing your nose in their practice. And there was a woman on the plane who was doing a series of yoga poses, oblivious to the other passengers. She was doing camel pose and all sorts of salutations and
in the aisle.
In the aisle. And while physicians agree that you should absolutely get up and move around and even stretch a little bit on the plane, this follows a nationwide trend of people showing you just how enlightened they are by having a yoga class, an impromptu yoga class of one, in what should be a relaxing
I think it's like a safety issue. That's like, and we're going to veto that. All right, a programming note. Be sure to watch The Five tomorrow. We're going to be in Washington, D.C. previewing the President's State of the Union address. We are live at 5 p.m. Eastern, and we don't want you to miss it, all right? Meantime, special report is up next with the Bret Baier.
You guys are coming here?
Yeah.
Yes, it'll never be the same.
Wait till the handoff.
We're coming after the bear.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Yeah.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Bret Baier in Washington. Major news tonight in the Russia investigation. Two breaking stories. One of President Trump's favorite Twitter targets, the #2 man at the FBI, is out tonight. Deputy Director, FBI Director Andrew McCabe is leaving earlier than his previously scheduled retirement in March. Fox News is told it is accurate to say McCabe was, quote, removed. And the House Intelligence Committee is meeting at this hour. We're expecting a major vote tonight on a document Republicans say outlines abuses by intelligence officials in their investigation of the Trump election campaign. Democrats on the committee insist Republicans are cherry-picking from hundreds of